welcome once again to your #1 show, Health Zone on Bina TV. As part of World Bipolar Day celebration, I have in the house today Dr. Yenusom Malug, specialist psychiatrist from Pantai Hospital, to talk to us about bipolar disorder. Welcome, Doc.
Thank you very much. And thank you for having me.
We are most grateful to have you here. Tell us, what is bipolar disorder?
Okay, thank you once again for the opportunity to help create awareness on mental health. Bipolar disorder is actually a mood disorder. And when we say a mood disorder, I mean it affects your feelings, the way you feel, your mood. And it can present in one of two ways or two extremes. Either you having a very high mood, being hyperactive, restless, agitated, you having a very low mood that we refer to as the depressive phase, being very down, sad, withdrawn, not wanting to interact with people, some may even become suicidal. So you can have a period whereby you have a very low mood depression, and you have a period whereby you have a very high mood, which you refer to as mania.
Okay.
So that's essentially what bipolar disorder is. So it's a mental disorder.
Oh, okay. So can you tell us who is predisposed to getting this condition? Who can get bipolar disorder?
Bipolar disorder, like any other mental disorder, the exact cause is unknown. You know, we usually say there are risk factors, biological, psychological, and social factors that could contribute to someone getting it. It tends to run in families. So if you have a family member who has got bipolar disorder, there's a risk of you getting it as compared to somebody who doesn't have it in their family. And like all other mental disorders, the other social factors could precipitate it in somebody who was vulnerable to it, you know. So we can all get it, but if you have a family history, you are at risk of getting it.
Okay. Do children suffer from this condition?
Bipolar tends to occur mainly in teenagers or older children. However, it may occur in children, but even with that, the diagnosis might be a bit challenging. But it tends to occur in older children and teenagers.
Oh, okay. So, Jama, assalamu alaikum. Sanu kudeni. Munda umukukuma de shirumo Health Zone come Bina TV. The manchenga monka specialist psychiatrists from Pantai Hospital. So she Dr. Yenusom Malug. Munzo muifira ni bagabatung bipolar disorder. She indicate tambaye she miyake che mo bipolar disorder. We mood disorder ni. Mood bimana yenda mutum ke feel. Chikin zamai na tambaye shi ya binki we okay. Mudoke chikama mutum nana. At one moment, then I classify one as depression. The next moment, she may shikuma yezo ye high mood. Mania. It's a kazo kana zo wanda wani. Baka gani yenda me shi yake ba. One moment me shi na diarrhea da kai yana okay. The next moment, mood me shi ya sake. Ili wana mutane, some of them ana ya diagnosis kama suna da bipolar disorder. Shi na tambaya kama wasu wada wake wana abuke ye course. Wanga bipolar disorder nga. Leke bar ya faru. Shi so dai when I run in families. Inde kana gida da kana da relatives and the ke she chance of getting it is high. Ya fi wanda be da ba shi cikin line shi ko ba shi cikin jinin shi amma yana ya afku. Shi na tambaya yana ya samun yara. Shi ce wai yara da bai samun su too often. Amma bai ce wai bai ya samu sama yana samu. He said older children.
Yeah, yes. I mean
teenagers,
early adulthood.
Adults.
Yes.
Isa atakaiche maganar duka kenan zamu continue the serum. So, Doc, how would you know if someone close to you is suffering from bipolar disorder? Because as for mood changes, we all have mood changes at one point in time or the other. I can be sad now and then something else will make me happy later. Mm-hmm. So how do we know, how do we recognize it?
So, I mean, if somebody has got bipolar disorder, like I said, it can present with either the depressive symptoms or the manic symptoms. So for mania, usually the person will be hyperactive, very irritable, could talk excessively, decreased need for sleep, maybe over hypersexual, gets involved in casual sex, or gets involved in activities without recourse to the consequences. Can just meet a lady right now, want to sleep with the person, doesn't even care whether it's used protection or not. Can just pick a cab, driving reckless, doesn't care about the consequences. And they tend to talk big, grandiose, you know. And, you know, they have something called infectious gaiety too. The least they can say and make everybody laugh. The least they will make you laugh, you know. So all this, and they're also distributed. They can talk explicit into things that, you know, they should talk and get to something, but then they will talk in details explicitly, whether sexual, whether personal issues, you know.
They have an idea of everything.
Yes. And so that's for the manic phase, you know. For the depressive phase too, I mean, just like the symptoms of depression, they are down, they are withdrawn, they don't want to do anything. Some may have crying episodes, suicidal. But for you to know whether the person has got bipolar or not, it can be challenging if this is the first presentation. But when you are taking the history, you find out from the person, if you are, let's say you are a doctor and you take the history, find out whether there has been a previous episode of such a behavior in which the person was hyperactive or aggressive or had a high mood like that. So if the person presenting with a depressive symptom, but if the first person presenting with just depressive symptoms and then you ask and then there's no previous episode of having a high mood, hyperactive, irritable, talking excessively, then you can make a diagnosis of depression. But if the next time the person presents an episode, you realize that it is of the manic type, then you can conveniently say that this is bipolar disorder, you know. Or if the person presents with a manic phase, manic symptoms first, and subsequently gets well and then has another presentation like that, then you can see this is bipolar. So depression and bipolar, they are all mood disorders, but you can have depression present in bipolar.
Okay, so do such patients get aggressive, those with bipolar?
Yeah, so for the manic type, they are hyperactive, and they have this high energy in them, so they can get aggressive, really restless, and usually we tend to, you know, have to do some form of restraint, chemical restraint, give them medications to calm them down.
Okay, we'll come to the medications in a bit. So let me just go back to my people and do some summarizing. So Jama, yanzu ga na tambaye doctor kaman in kana nan da mutum ko kana nan da mutane, za ka yi ka gane kaman wanda kake nan da shi na yana da wanga condition ga. Don kaman yadda na ce mai, we all sometimes get withdrawn, we all sometimes get excited. Wani ya yana wurin ka yanzu ga yana jin daɗi, the next moment kaga kaman bai shi yayi sad ko wani abu. So mu duka yana muna yasa in what case za ka yi ka ce kaman, oh wangan gade is a problem. Sai ya ce wai yana show in a way kaman me shi kaga kaman yayi hyperactive in the meaning kaman ai mu duka muna zuwa up and down muna kuma shi kaga kaman me shi ya samu wani energy yana gidi yana zuwa up and down wani karfi dai ne yazo jikin shi a kaga kaman wanga is not normal don dama ba san me shi da haka nan ba me shi yayi irritable wani abu kadan shi yayi fushi abinda bai kai fushi ba shi kaga me shi yayi fushi ko abinda bai kai damuwa ba shi me shi ya damu with decreased sleep we me shi kuma na zuwa bai yayi kwana kaga da dare kowa na kwana me shi idon shi na bude we the person becomes hypersexual me shi yazo yana so wurin wasan kwana me that's how I call it in Hausa wurin wasan kwana shi ya saurayi yana ta bin mata anyhow bai damu ba na za a yi shi ko ya za a yi shi ko ina anytime anywhere kana nan da mishi ka saka wannan shi ba haka yake ba. So all of a sudden the person becomes like that when they begin to talk big we ka san me shi calm person ne shi na magana manya da abubuwa that is the manic phase wannan ke bar me shi hyperactive nan ka bar wurin ko shi ka zo wurin the depressive phase wannan ko shi me shi yayi down and withdrawn shi me shi yazo yayi shirun bai tanka kowa yana cikin kullu yana cikin kubin shi kuma dama an saba haka yake ba then wake crying episodes mutum ba buga mutum ba mai komi ba bai samu problem da kowa and then you find the person crying shi saurayi yana ta kuka and suicidal thoughts kana nan da wani shi me shi na tunani kamar ya kashe kanshi da ya mutu ma da ya fi and all those things. look at what I come on, but even with that, he says when you come to the hospital, don't trace if there has been a previous episode.
Yeah.
If there have been a previous, I mean, they are never happen. So now, I do go and then do can also diagnose. Maybe she not be do people like this get aggressive. Not be she. Why do one more time? And soon I hear Suzo you don't see a jama a cake and one's to Jim one issue. We and I kayakana. In some cases, a kayak indeed the manic type. A kay one level. It's as I'm cool, Mamuzo to town and she much about the fear. So, Doctor, what are the treatment options?
Yeah, but before I speak about the treatment options, for those who present the manic phase, mania, they also spend money excessively or they are over generous giving out things. So the family member will tell that they don't even want him to have access to his or her account because he will just spend it, go and withdraw and then be buying things that he doesn't even need and be given. It's all part of the symptoms of the usual bipolar manic type.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So we manic type and I very me shook my zoo, how should be the Caribbean at a chill could day in a buyer. I've been there, I the shabu. Most times, I call patients, she releases to chill, Barbary some access to his account, man. No, and I chew could anyhow, I use in our bamut and they spend excessively. And the doctor have a mungani come on, look at chicken conditions. And so, when it be by expenditure and they when normal.
Over generous, giving out their stuff.
Even the things he owns and he can give it out to people. It's a few examples, Kina. These are some of the things that you can look out for, observe, and someone around you and know things are not too well, so that you know this is time to seek for help, and probably take the person to the hospital. So back to the treatment options.
Yeah, so the treatment options usually in our setting, we say we have the biopsychosocial approach. Bio means biological, psycho means psychological, social of course means social. So biological, we tend to give medications. The medication, we have what we call mood stabilizers and also antipsychotics. The psychological, we get a psychologist involved and then we offer them psychotherapy. Some of the clients don't have insight into their condition or they don't appreciate that they have a problem. So when they are getting women to see what are the social interventions you can put in place, if it's at the workplace, if it's at home, we involve the family, involve the work colleagues or the work supervisor, see how we can put things in place, you know, to get him well. And even for the family to know when he's well, they need to continue the treatment, they need to bring for review, and they should also do things that could stress him and lead to a relapse. So in a nutshell, we give medications, we offer psychotherapy, and then we also have some social interventions for the person.
Okay. So when I talk about treatment, she they use psychosocial approach. Biopsychosocial approach. To bio nan the magunguna the drugs.
Medications.
Okay, bio one. Say psycho now is way machine sometimes not but machine a psychologist because sometimes some of them don't actually believe they have a problem, but so you get it's not one problem. But I don't want to share a psychologist. Yeah, I'm gonna the she. So social approach and I involve family members. And they don't miss a coma get the family members they zone. And the Zai Mishi the shining Ike Mishi, the Kuma, and the Rasu Sakon, so chicken treatments to make sure Mishi Asha. And
any other social interventions that can be put in place.
Okay, the combing, the the chicken surrounding me, the give them meshi, the zebra meshi is very comfortable from hospital. Yes, so when the person moves home. So how about rehabilitation?
Yes.
Is there anything that has been put in place in this part of our world as far as rehabilitation is concerned for patients like this?
When you say rehabilitation, I mean when the client comes to the hospital, the family brings the person, the condition is so severe that we have to admit. I mean, it's a form of rehabilitation really to get the person well. Okay. When the person is well, what we do is that on the ward, we usually invite the family, we have a chat, update on what we've done for the person, and then sometimes even ask them that to get the house ready pending the discharge. So all these are forms of rehabilitating the person, getting the person back into the society, you know. So we have hospitals that can take them, a client in when the person needs admission.
Okay.
And then after that, we discharge home. Yeah.
Okay, so how long will such a client usually stay in hospital for treatment?
For some clients, within a week to 2 weeks, they would have settled. Then we would discharge. But for those who tend to get well, then they go home, they stop their medication, and they relapse and come. Some may stay up to a month or sometimes longer. But within 2 weeks, mental health is actually supposed to be free.
Okay.
The treatment, I mean, it is relative. It is relative. It is not that expensive. It is relative. Depending on the type of medication that we are putting you. But essentially, when you come to the hospital, you get the treatment.
Okay.
Yeah, so it is affordable.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, Jama, na itambaya kama nje yaka kemi irin wanga mutum aka kai mai shi hospital. How long ya mai shi zai yi sauran wurin? Kwana nawa zai yi? Sai ce wai it's relative, but it depends on yanda mai shi yake. Wai wani bi 2 weeks is okay. Ana ya within bakwai biyu. Ayi mai shi ya stable a cire shi. Wani bi kuma yana yi te har kaman 1 month. Amma when it's relative, it depends. Kama yanda ya gwada. Yanda abin ke yi ma mai shi zai gwada. Yanda abubuwa zai ta. Shi na tambato, shi in aka kawo mai shi ya batun kudi yake. Ya whether it's expensive. Shi ya ce wai mental health is supposed to be free, ideally. Amma tanan ganga ana karban kudi kadan, but then bai gaya wa kuma it is too expensive da baya abia. It is okay. It is not too expensive. I
mean, so what I'm saying is that, I mean, the medications are not that expensive, but it also depends on the type of medication that we are putting you on. Okay. You know, where I work, I mean, you have to pay for your medications. So yeah, and it is affordable. Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's a takaice shi kenan. Sa muna nan gida da mutane haka. Perhaps maybe whilst we are home right now, we might have people around us who might be facing some of these things that maybe we've not really taken note. So I'm sure with our conversation with Doctor this evening, we would probably realize that person close by us, that sister, that brother, that auntie, that uncle, might probably have an issue and we would have to visit the hospital. Muna nan gida da mutane. Maybe cikin fira mu da doctor nga mun koyi abubuwa kadan within a short time we've learned a lot. So out of these few things we've said, you might be able to observe and then take a decision or observe and know, no, this is not going well with my brother, things are not going well with my sister, my auntie, my uncle, my mom, my dad. So we should take note of this and then watch the people close by us. And if sometimes even ourselves, we are not exempted. So whilst we watch others, you observe yourself too. Perhaps some people don't actually believe they have a condition like that, but it is possible for you to realize it yourself, right? Is it?
Oh, I mean, if you have insight into your condition, I mean, with time, you begin to appreciate, oh, so this is what's happening to me, and I need to take charge of my health. You know, I have clients that after 2 or 3 episodes of, you know, of the condition, now I'm beginning to appreciate that, look, I've got to take my medications, so I'll be well. Because initially, a number of clients don't even understand what is going on. They don't even want to accept that they have a condition. You see, whether you accept or not, you have the condition. What you can only do is to make sure that you take you go through the treatment and get yourself, you can get back to your functioning level. You can be able to get back to school, you can be able to get back to work. So if it happens 2 or 3 times like that, and they get well again, we are able to counsel them to have to begin to understand that they need to take charge of their own health. You know, they now begin to, some will even tell that, oh, some will even be able to know when they are about to relapse. A friend of mine who I'm managing for bipolar, recently, he knew he was about to relapse, called me that, doctor, the previous night I couldn't sleep throughout.
He realized it.
Yes, he knew it was going to happen. So I said he should let his family members get in touch with me. I'm going to then we were able to bring him to the hospital, you know.
Oh, nice, wonderful conversation. As a form of wrap-up, what are your final words for our guests?
Oh, I must first commend Bipolar TV for even having this program on bipolar, on the occasion of World Bipolar Day. That's one. Two, mental health awareness, the creation. I mean, what you have just done is to help create mental health awareness. There are services available for mental health for anybody who needs it's the service of a mental health expert or needs mental health services. Yours is to go to the nearest hospital. If you go there and they cannot manage you, they will refer you to the appropriate place. And usually, like I tell everybody when I do these talk shows, if you feel overwhelmed with whatever condition, whatever is happening, you feel overwhelmed, talk to somebody. If it's talking to your friend, somebody you can confide in. Through that, they may even provide guidance to you as to what to do or where to seek for help. Okay.
Okay, viewers, this is where we draw the curtains on our program. You can join us same time next week, 4 p.m. HealthZone on Bipolar TV. Salam alaikum.
Malaikum salam.
You did well.